Jamie Dornan's shocking confession: "When I first met Dakota, I fell in love, and couldn't get out." Jamie Dornan, the actor who has conquered millions of hearts, has publicly shared the secret he has kept in his heart for many years, the moment he first met Dakota Johnson. Jamie said that from that moment, he knew his life had changed, and he could not live without her. This is not only a story about love, but also a story about destiny, about two strangers finding each other among millions of lights, about a deep attachment that overcomes the challenges and pressures of fame. The fateful encounter. Jamie Dornan remembers that morning clearly, a morning in Los Angeles, golden sunlight spread across the boulevard. He went to the set to attend a script reading for a project that would later become a global phenomenon. Jamie had been chosen for the male lead role, while the female lead was still a mystery to him. The door opened, and she walked in, Jamie said, his voice trembling as he recalled. Dakota Johnson. I'd never seen a face like that in my life. There was something so gentle yet fierce in her eyes. Dakota, with her long hair and a small smile, walked toward the table reading the script. She shook Jamie's hand, a gentle handshake that made his heart race. "Hello, Jamie," she said, her voice deep and warm, and in that moment, Jamie knew his life would never be the same again. When the heart skipped a beat. In the early days of working together, Jamie tried to keep his distance so as not to be distracted. He told himself it was just a temporary feeling, but the more he worked with Dakota, the more he realized she was different. She was smart, witty, and could make the whole crew laugh with just one sentence. But when she entered the scene, she transformed into a completely different person, deep, fragile, and Jamie couldn't take his eyes off her. "There were times when I forgot I was acting," Jamie shared. "I just stood there, looking at her, and my heart ached because I didn't know if I was acting or really in love." As each day passed, the bond between the two grew stronger. They practiced lines together, discussed their characters, and shared personal stories. Jamie began to realize that he was spending more time with Dakota outside of filming, finding ways to be near her without attracting attention. Confession in the dark. One evening, after filming a difficult scene, the crew had almost all left. Jamie and Dakota were still sitting in a corner of the set, with only yellow lights shining down. Jamie looked at Dakota for a long time, trying to hold back but couldn't anymore. He whispered, "Dakota, I can't stop thinking about you. From the first time I met you, I knew I couldn't live without you." Dakota was silent. She looked at him, her blue eyes shining with many emotions. Finally, she smiled sadly, "Jamie, we're in the middle of a whirlwind. You know that, but I can't deny it. I feel something." It was a moment Jamie called the point of no return. He knew from that moment on, no matter what, he could no longer consider Dakota just a co-star. The glorious days together. During the filming, Jamie and Dakota were inseparable. They shared everything, from quick breakfasts in the dressing room to late-night conversations about dreams, fears, and even the most private things. Jamie said, "One day we were in the car, on the way back to the hotel after a long day of filming. She leaned her head on my shoulder, and I just wanted time to stop. I'd never felt so peaceful." The behind-the-scenes photos, the glances they exchanged, the smiles they shared, all of it made fans curious. But the two kept it private, not making anything public. Jamie says he wants to protect Dakota from public pressure, and she wants to protect the project they're working on. The storm of fame. However, when the film was released and became a phenomenon, the pressure began to weigh on both of them. Rumors abounded, gossip was endless. People scrutinized every gesture, every word for signs of fake love, real love. Jamie had her own life at that time, and so did Dakota. Both of them stood between the fragile boundary between work and personal feelings. There were nights when I couldn't sleep, Jamie confessed. I was afraid I would hurt her. But I was also afraid I would lose her. Dakota, in a private conversation, said, "I know you care about me. I care about you too. But we have to slow down. The world out there is not like in the movies." The moment Jamie realized the truth. One day, Jamie woke up in London, opened his phone and saw a photo of Dakota at another event, radiant and beautiful. He realized he had been looking at her for years but had never really expressed his feelings. "I looked at that picture and knew that, no matter what, I couldn't live without her," Jamie says in this fictional interview. It wasn't just a passing infatuation. It was a deep connection, a destiny. He tells Dakota that he wrote a long letter, telling her everything, the first time they met, the look in her eyes, her smile, and his fears. "I don't know if she'll read it. But I had to write it because I couldn't keep it inside anymore." Dakota and the silent response. Dakota didn't respond right away. She chose to stay quiet for a while, focusing on her work and her personal life. Jamie respected that, but he says, "Every time I see her on screen, my heart flutters like the first day I met her." Dakota later shared in another interview, "Jamie was special. I had never met anyone like him. He was genuine, warm, and also very complicated. I don't know what the future holds, but I know he will always be a part of my life." The journey has no end. Today, when Jamie Dornan looks back, he smiles. He knows that fateful encounter changed him forever. Although their relationship was not clearly defined, he still considers Dakota Johnson to be the person who left the deepest mark on his heart. "I could never forget Dakota's face the first time I met her," Jamie repeated the words that caused a stir in the public. "From that moment, I knew I couldn't live without her. It wasn't a story in a movie. It was the story of my life."